library complex and the ball fields and all the rest. They could have put one of those, and I'm trying to remember what the hell they call it. There's a special kind of a light anyway, and it costs cost $30,000 or whatever years ago, and could have just put one of those darn things in there. And they talk about how they're going to give you a place to stand in the middle of the two lanes of traffic that they left us. That's not a good place to be. And then, I mean, there is nothing positive I can say about the conversion of Maryland. Some people would say, well, it's slower, and that's a fact. Thank you.
All right. Uh, Kay Berglund.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for having this. First thing I was kind of curious is, will these be, I, will these be re-aired on the internet sometime, or is there a link that they are they being recorded so that they're available to be reviewed again sometime?
Yes, yeah, and I'll go through where everything is available as far as the concepts and everything else, and there will be a presentation
Right. The
provided on
presentation.
there. The individual breakout sessions will not be; those are not recorded.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, and so, and I've been listening here, and I thought the last resident made some good points, and I hope that you're able to follow up with him because I would be interested in some of those issues too. Some of the issues about how the new transportation corridors are supposed to work. So I thought he made some good points, and I want to thank him. I think his name was Greg. I want to thank him for making such points, and I hope you're able to respond to some of those points he made. The other question I have is now, and I'm a little bit concerned. I remember reading about Mayor Daley, Chicago, where they took everyone who needed additional assistance or had some sort of issue or was low income, and they would concentrate that in one area instead of spreading them all out across the region so the region could help support everybody as a community. And I pardon me.
No,
And
there's somebody's. Keep going.
okay, thank you. And so I know that to spread people out takes a lot more energy and it takes a lot more diligence, and it's easier to just concentrate people. And probably that's why Mayor Daley did it. And I'm looking at the rush line, and it seems like the major consideration in the rush line is to build as many housing projects as they can along that rush line. I know that over in Maplewood, Frost and English, there's going to be I think the expectation is they want to at least put 5,000 units. And the city of Maplewood, they want to, I mean, this is almost unbelievable if you didn't hear it with your own ears. They want to knock down Maplewood Mall and put, not like townhomes or something like, or 3-story apartments there, but they want to put 10, 11-story apartments and put 10,000 people on that Maplewood Mall site. And I think that's just exactly what everybody learned not to do. Now with the Wright Streets, and maybe I'm incorrect. I'm wondering if that's a duplication of repeating the same model again. Just put as many people and just house as many people as possible on Rice Street. And of course, whenever the fear is that many of the people that we're putting there or that you're promoting to be there um, need to use some sort of transit, and it's as if people don't have the money, don't have the jobs or good paying jobs, don't have the dedicated support, have some sort of difficulty, heavy problems, that they'll want to use public transportation. From my experience, that everyone, including the new immigrants to this country and to this area, the first thing they want to do is not get public transportation, but they want to get a car. And actually, to base your whole model that you're going to concentrate everybody who has low income in projects around Rice Street on the basis of transportation seems to be very problematic. So I was just hoping you could elaborate exactly, for example, how many housing units do you want to put along this corridor? And
Yeah,
is what I'm saying correct? Thank you.
There's no goal for new or more housing units or anything else with this project. This is completely a street and multimodal type of project. And I can thank you for the comments there. If we can get everybody to be a little bit quicker, we only have about 10 minutes left, and I have not been able to present anything yet. So we can just give it a really quick, and it will give you a good place for everybody to provide a lot of comments. So sorry about that.
Good evening. My name is Mickey Murray. I live a few blocks to the west on Arlington off of Rice Street. I am on Rice Street all the time, whether I'm coming or going or actually going somewhere in particular that's on Rice Street. So I'm kind of been following this a little bit, especially paying attention to what's happened on or what changes have been taking place on Maryland, on Carpenter, and a few other places. So I definitely have what I support and other things that I don't. I also serve on the Land Use and Housing Committee for the North End Neighborhood Network.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna have Karen jump in.
Thank you. I was just kind of waiting, but anyway, my name is Karen Carey Bonner. I actually walk down from Wheelock to Rice Street pretty much on a daily basis. I live in Maplewood, but I'm always there in the morning for my morning walk. I have a couple questions. Number one, I have used an upholstery shop on Rice Street. And because the parking is so bad right now, and it looks like the parking's not going to be any better, is there a way that people that really have to deliver furniture, because you have to deliver furniture to the upholstery people, we had to park around the corner, I think a couple blocks, and bring chairs into the upholstery shop. Is there any way you can accommodate that, or go into these stores and see if they need parking in the back? If I don't think he does have parking in the back, but that's one question. And I know this is coming out of Public Works, but how is that going to affect taxpayers, property tax in that whole developed area? I mean, are they assessed, or are there property taxes going up to work on this project, or is it going to be spread out through Ramsey County? So that's my question.
Yeah, it's about the funding. So there's no set project yet, and it'll kind of depend, and I'm sure the county, we're talking about different funding mechanisms, including some of the federal money that's available out there for certain things. And so that it's unknown at this point.
All right, let's quickly hit the last like 4 or 5 people. Brian has a great tool for all this commenting and for further questions. Troy, you're unmuted, so I'm going to go with you.
Go ahead. This is Troy's father, Ted. I own Hammerdakes on Rice Street, and I commend you people for all the diligence, all the work you've done on this project. The one thing that I think concerns me a little bit is I don't see much mention of business. And I think business is the wheel that makes everything go. And here again, it seems to be sort of a forgotten factor in this whole equation. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. I have Amanda, Latanya, and Ethan are the only people I have not heard from.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amanda Geske. I'm the librarian over at Rice Street Library, and I'm really happy to be hearing from everybody.
Thanks.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sonia. I'm a resident. Just checking out and seeing what's going on with Rice Street. I've been here for 20 years. Thank you.
Oh, you cut off. We don't know how long you've been there. We have 5 minutes left. So Ethan, quickly. Ethan. All right, Brian.
Okay.
Fire
So
20 minutes of stuff in 5.
Yep, I will do it here. So if you jump to the Ramsey County website, if you look on any search engine, if you just type in Ramsey County Rice Street visiting study or Ramsey County Rice Street, the link will probably show up. If you go down to, and everybody signed up today with the virtual open house, if you go to the event details, down into the description, there is the view concepts and submit feedback. This will be the primary mechanism besides this open house for people to provide comments on any of the concepts or anything else. So we'll put information in here. You can do a tour. I'm just going to continue. It will show up the concepts right away. I'm going to close this because basically we have the corridor. So you can zoom down along the corridor. And up on the right side, and it may be covered by, or the views for different people here. If you jump through the different concepts, it'll change that here. You can see the overall cross section, some of those visualizations, and the concept pros and cons that was provided at the meeting. But if you go down and zoom in, so this is like concept B, you can look at Cook Avenue and see how this looks on certain areas of the corridor. And part of it is, so if you look on the left side, there's add comment. So you can look at a like, a dislike, if you have a concern, if you have any ideas or opportunities. If you dislike something along this corridor, you can add it, add your comment, put your name in there. You can even put anonymous if you didn't want to put your name in there. Your email address, we encourage people to put their name and email address. So if there's specific questions that we have based on your comment, that we can contact you. And then the type of user that you may be. If you're a property owner, a resident, transit rider, we want to know that information because that'll better give us a way to contact you back if we have any follow-up questions about any of your comments. I'm just going to pull that right now, but this is a great idea. You'll be able to see anybody else's comments along these concepts and these corridors. So you can just move along and then zoom in. And again, add any comments. You'll be able to see anybody else's comments. You won't be able to delete their comments, but you can see them. And I think you can even sometimes respond to them. So it's a great opportunity for people to get their comments out there. Again, anybody that's not at this meeting, I encourage you to share this link with them, share this opportunity with them so that they can go through. Is there a certain area that somebody wants me to kind of focus in on a certain concept? One other thing I will mention with this, these concepts are not like, concept A has to be on every segment of the corridor. You could have, and especially if you look at concept A, we show that cycle track really on the north end and the south end because there's just not enough space with those building fronts next to the corridor to fit a dedicated bicycle facility and your pedestrians. So between Ivy and I believe it's Sycamore, there really only is really two options, the shared use path or sidewalk. And then under other concepts, they will go through all four, but all segments do not have to be the same. So there is an opportunity. So if you really like concept A in segment 1 or the southern segment, south of Atwater, and you like concept C north of Atwater, let us know that. Because we can do some mix and match, especially as we know that there's might be more of a priority for parking in a certain area. So if you really like parking, you may say concept C might be your preferred concept in that certain area. We want to hear from everybody because we know that there's certain areas or certain businesses. If you say, I really need parking in front of my area, my business, and I do not have any off-street parking and there's no other opportunities, that gives us some information to as we're going through these concepts and developing them further. So I don't know if there's anybody who wants to speak up in the last minute or so I've got, if there's a certain area somebody wants to look at or a certain concept. I went through it pretty quick. Any questions anybody has about this tool?
I went through and made a comment up at Maryland, so.
And which concept did you make it on? Oh,
I made it on the map under concept C.
okay. Jump there.
So it's on the overall map, yeah.
Yeah. So you can look here at a comment. And here's the comment. For some reason I cannot see it. I will have to double check that.
You can see the little comment bubble.
Yep.
Can you click on that?
I can click on it. Nothing is showing up.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'll talk to.
Technology on the fly.
Exactly.
I'm excited to see you all and what you have, and now we're going to disappear and be back in the big room.
This meeting is being recorded.
Nicole, this is Brian Nemeth. If you have a chance, some of the comments, we were not able to see other people's comments on the input ID. Just to let you know.
Okay.
Do we know if everybody's back, Nicole?
We have a few people still popping in, but we should all be back together by now. So we're free to move on.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Who is group one? Who's reporting back on that?
That was Cody. I think that was our group, right?
Yes.
Great. I can report back on that. We had a really great group of people who introduced themselves and some definite distinct opinions. We heard from a couple people who were concerned that bike lanes on the corridor may not be used as heavily as to justify there's not a space dedicated for them. There was concerns that they did not see a lot of bike traffic on there right now, and there are other alternatives. And of course, the space was very constrained, which we're all aware of. We also had the counterpoint argument, which was saying, well, maybe one of the reasons we don't see bike traffic is because it's not considered safe right now. It doesn't feel comfortable for people to ride, so they avoid the corridor. And that because of it's been, as far as the All Ages and Abilities Network, there's a reason to create a more safe environment for people along this corridor to bike. Definitely different opinions there, but it's good to hear from different perspectives. We also had some discussion about parking and the fact that there's some need perceived for on-street parking, especially for delivery and for businesses that do not have adequate off-street parking. And some questions related to just dimensions and requirements on that, and a little bit about the understanding that there will be some opportunities for bus pullouts because buses often will otherwise block traffic. Cody, did I miss anything major?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay. Great.
All right, thanks, Hyla. Group two is our group. Nick, you want to report out on that?
Sure, I can do my best here. The first suggestion was make it 2 lanes rather than 3, because the smaller the better. There was another person who liked option B the best. Another suggestion, which was a good one, is have option A, so the bike designated bikeway on both ends where it's wider, and then option B where it's a shared use path in the middle where there's not as much space, and that's a very good suggestion. Another one is kind of add some curvature to Ray Street or chicane, so it's not just a straight shot and slows people down. That's a good suggestion. Another one was add a bike lane on a side street and trash cans along the street, which is a great idea. And there was another comment on a lot of accidents near the Wheelock intersection.
Yeah, that fits my list. So I think that's it for us. Group 3.
I'll start and let
I can
Brian.
start.
Brian jump in. I want to thank our group. Several people lived right on the corridor or near the corridor, and several people were from a little bit further away, but brought their concerns from experience on other corridors in the area. So we found that people are very concerned about businesses and supporting the businesses, including facilitating parking and deliveries for some of those businesses. We heard about a lot about housing and density and maybe what will an improved Rice Street attract, and how that will play out amongst the larger community. And then there was a question about property tax for the area. Is it for the area? Is it going to be for the overall county? You know, we had some walkers. We had some people that said they walked in the area. A lot of people said that they were. Several people mentioned that they use Rice quite often, and several people said they would use Rice more often once improvements were made. So I'll let Brian tag along onto that if there's anything else.
Yeah, the other things, you know, encourage us to talk to the businesses and to determine where, you know, there is a need for parking, or if there are opportunities for parking to be made off site or off the roadway corridor. Looking and talking to those businesses was encouraged, which is a very good comment. And just, you know, comparisons to Maryland Avenue, I think was the other comments we got, is just, you know, how this corridor compares to that. And, you know, I think there were some positive and negative, a lot more negative, I would say, that we heard from, at least from the group that we had, or certain people, that, you know, that what was happening on Maryland, want to make sure that, you know, that something is provided for the community, provided on something like Rice Street. That's about it.
Thanks, Brian. And thanks to everybody in the breakout groups. What I'm going to do now is I've basically got just one more slide to go through. So I'm gonna do that, and then we're going to open it up. So the next steps, we are basically starting today about call it a 30-day comment period. And again, I want to stress, I can't stress enough, please go to the website, and that will be open for quite a while for people's comments. And I would encourage you to check back in, because as I mentioned, there's the kind of the chat feature, and you can weigh in, you can talk to your neighbors about what's going on there and other interested parties. And really appreciate you doing that. So at the end of that 30-day comment period, we will be making a decision about which of these various concepts fit which of the segments that we have, and we'll be coming up with one that we think meets the goals of people here and people that weigh in online and people that have weighed in over the last nearly 2 years. We will continue our outreach. Hyla and Joanna mentioned some targeted outreach coming up yet this summer and fall, so we will continue that. And our intent would be to report back on this with a preferred concept this fall. I don't want to kind of nail that down to a date yet, but if I had to, it'd be somewhere around October-ish probably. We'll try to bring this back to people because, as I mentioned, we got a lot of work to do on trying to figure out how to fit parking in, where do medians go? Are there short stretches that we can actually do some real changes to side streets that will help things? So there's a lot of details to be gone through yet. And so there's the implementation piece on the, you know, how do you implement the roadside, as well as the implementation piece. How do the community aspects of that come right along with that? So we've got a lot of work to do over the next few months. And we hope to report back in fall about where we are and what we intend to do out here and how we intend to do it. So those are the next steps. And as I mentioned earlier, we'd more than happy. It's 7:30 now. We're more than happy to stick around for a little while longer if people do have continued questions, recognizing that everybody's already given an hour and a half of their evening. Again, thank you very much. We appreciate your feedback. This is incredibly important to us. So I'm going to stop there, and I will open it up, and people can chat. People can raise your hand and make comments, and be happy to just have kind of a general free flow, kind of like we did in the breakouts. Any comments or questions?
Hey, Scott. One thing that happened in our breakout group that we perhaps didn't bring forward because it felt like it was more of a happenstance was one of the people in our group mentioned having kids in the neighborhood knock on his door to ask if he could move his car so that they could play a game in the street because it wasn't safe for them to go across Rice Street to the rec center. And then another person talked about gardeners expressing concern about risk of injury. And so I just want to be sure that everyone hears that for all ages, the pedestrian question, how do we allow people to safely cross the street, is one that people are consistently raising. And then there was a question of, can we do something about the speed through design? And if so, what does that look like? And how does that impact the drivers, the cyclists, and the buses?
Thanks, Alana. Yep, those are important aspects. Just again, we are formally done here, so if you have places to be, feel free to do that. If you do have some questions, we'll stick around and chat a little bit if you'd like.
Hey Scott, this is Lee again.
Yeah, Lee.
I don't know if this is a question, but this is just my experience, right? So for me here, I live in a city for almost 20 years, and I like to bike to work. And I only get down to the train station at university to get to work. I feel more comfortable using that trail behind Kmart to get to downtown than going straight down on Rice Street to university there. That's just my concern. If I'm able to feel comfortable riding my bike down to university to get to the train, that would be great.
Thanks, Lee. It's a real life example.
So I'm on the Input ID website right now, and I can see some like icons where other people have left comments, but when I click on them, it just gives me like a thumbs up, thumbs down, leave my own comment on that, but I can't see what they commented. So that might be something that whoever is on the back end should look into.
Yep. Brian let me know after the breakout session, and I already messaged our designer for this, so hopefully that's resolved shortly here. So thank you for bringing that up.
Thanks, Ian.
You know, I wonder if it's because they have to be approved before they're visible for someone else. So we need to read them and make sure they're okay. And then after that, everyone else will be able to see them. Because people are putting things in right now, you likely won't be able to see what someone just put in tonight.
So apparently Ramsey County has community standards. Is that correct? That's a good thing.
One can only assume.
And one can hope. Other questions? Appreciate you coming, Commissioner Matas Castillo. You probably had 7 other meetings you could have gone to. We appreciate you choosing this one. So thanks for coming.
I think it's worth reading her message, Scott, just in case somebody can't see it.
Yeah.
Do you want to read that aloud?
Will do. She says, thanks everyone for coming and participating tonight. This was a really great and valuable conversation, and we're going to keep talking as this moves forward. We're not going to make everyone happy, but I know we can create a project that meets the community's needs and lives up to our values as a city and a county. Well said.
You know, there were a number of people, I'm sorry, this is Mickey Murray. There were a number of people who made comments regarding business. And I know the various sessions I've been in, for the most part, have been residential input. And so have there been meetings? I'm thinking people will be interested to know if there have been meetings that have been specifically addressing or asking for business interests and concerns.
Yeah, great question. And was it Mickey?
Yes.
Yeah. We have met with NEBA, the Northeast Business Association, a couple of times. We met with them just recently, although I will say it was kind of as we were coming out of, you know, people starting to get vaccinations, and it was not greatly attended. I think that's a great comment, and we need to go back to NEBA. I know that our liaisons are getting out in the community and hearing from some of the business owners as well as they work with them. But I appreciate that comment. You're absolutely right. We have professed that economic development and the vitality of Rice Street is incredibly important in this conversation. So hearing from them is definitely needed. So we will redouble our efforts to contact NEBA and visit with them again as well.
There are a couple of comments regarding suggestions or ideas about moving the bike corridor, you know, along Jackson Street. And so there's a little bit of conversation going back and forth, and I think that it's worth putting on Input ID. And I think that you know, I think the larger area is being looked at, and I think some, you know, at the PMT level, the project management team, you know, working with our partners at the county and, you know, the different departments in the county and the city and whatnot, trying to find some suggestions or some solutions.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yep, and also on the county's list too is a bike facility on Jackson Street from pretty much Larpenteur to University all the way down. So
I'll mirror what Trista has just commented here, which is that folks on bikes often like getting to restaurants and shops and homes that are on Rice Street. So a bike lane on Jackson does add a bit and perhaps would be in its own right, but I think that there's real reasons to allow the folks that live and work and bike on Rice Street to access the same shops and businesses and homes.
yeah, I'd see Jackson as more of a commuter route and Rice Street more as I'm going to eat there, drink there, have fun there.
Good comments. So I sit here for 15 seconds. That means nobody's going to say anything, and we're going to pull the plug.
This was very informative. Thank you so much. And thank you for walking through the website.
That's great.
It looks like the comments are showing up in Input ID now. I think it was, like Hawana said, with a little bit of back-end screening before those appeared live.
Excellent. Glad to know it works. All right, I think we'll wrap it up here, and you know where to find us. We're not hard to find, so Nick's right there on the website. Any questions, feel free to reach out to Nick. And again, just make sure you comment on the website. We'd love to get the comments there. We did record this. We have everything recorded from tonight, so that's a good thing. Any last comments, Nick?
Nope, this is a great group, and we'll see you again in probably a couple months.
Thanks all.
Nice job, Scott.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job, Scott. You're getting better and better.
I learned from some of the best, Melvin.
Okay, you take care.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Bye-bye.
The recording has stopped.